All right. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming out. Had five people sign up for the webinar and two show up so far. So that's pretty good for a free webinar. And people might show up late. So we're going to go ahead and get started or get Robin in the chat. I see Adam's up here. Very nice. I know Adam's out of New Orleans. Robin, where are you out of? Am I throwing in the chat there? That's okay. We'll leave it a mystery, Robin. You let me know if it ever shows up. All right. This webinar is called. Let me get the screen going on up here for you. It's called Three Ways Improv Can Help You Advance Your Career. I know it's kind of long and clunky, but try to get the point home here. It's gonna be a running theme with a couple things they talk about. Clunky titles, but a motto I live by is clear and clunky is better than smooth and confused. So we're going to talk about how improv, something I am very interested in and been doing for a long time, can help people like yourself with careers and things of that nature. So, who the heck am I? My name is Rich Baker. It's an adjective followed by a noun. It's kind of a weird name, but I've had it my whole life. It kind of stuck. I am a touring performer and instructor. I've done improv, sketch, stand up, storytelling, just about every form of comedy you can think of that's mainstream. I've done it, if not done it a lot. I still do it over 25 years of performing and teaching. I've been with groups like the Second City, the West Side Comedy Theater, Comedy Sports, Mission Improbable, etc., etc. So that's kind of where my background comes from. And here's what we're going to talk about today. So four main points here, and we're approximately going to 45 minutes with Q&A following, but who knows how long it'll wind up being. Maybe it won't go any longer than that. I'll tell you that much. First thing we're talking about is the mistake that companies and individuals make when it comes to the soft skills, aka the human skills that apply to every industry. Second thing we're going to talk about are the big three soft skills: communication, creativity, and adaptability. We're going to about how improv, the thing that I've been doing for most of my life, provides an ideal space to not only work these skills, but make everyone feel safe and supported in the environment while they do so. And lastly, how I help professionals put these lessons into practice. Well, that's what we're going to be covering today. So let's start with the Peter Principle. If you haven't heard of this one, it's a fun one. It was developed by a gentleman named Lawrence J. Peter. I don't know anything about this guy other than he came up with the principle and this photo. So based off this photo, I assume he's a party animal. But Peter Principle basically states that in a hierarchy, like a company or job organization, that people tend to rise to the level of respective incompetence, meaning that people get promoted to the point to where they don't know exactly what they're doing anymore. They're no longer good at their job. That is the Peter Principle as it is, because what he found is that when people would get promoted, eventually the skill set that made them so good at the thing they were doing doesn't always match the next thing that they get promoted to. Right. And the main reason that comes down to this, why the Peter Principle exists, is because of soft skills. If you haven't heard that term before, it's a term that I don't particularly love. Some people call them human skills. People call them real skills. They're skills that apply to lots of different things. So, what are soft skills? They apply to every industry. Doesn't matter what you do. I promise you, the soft skills work for you, and it's not just work life. That's what I'm selling because that's what matters to a lot of people. But I mean, these soft skills help you in all aspects of life as well. Great. Yeah. Robin, you familiar with this? Nice. These soft skills are not measurable, right? So they're very hard to put metrics on these or numbers on a spreadsheet to know if someone is good or not good or better or worse at these soft skills, right? Which makes them terribly difficult to get companies to invest in because they can't associate a number with it. These soft skills can be learned and developed. And this was huge for me when I was starting out with improv because I really believed, as did a lot of people that I worked with at the time, that some people were just outgoing and some were just not. Some people were just funny, some people were not. That there were these inherent characteristics about people. And when it comes to the soft skills, there's none of these are exclusive to anyone. They can all be learned and developed. Everyone has the neuroplasticity to be able to incorporate these soft skills, no matter what it is that you're an expert in. This comes from this author, Carol Dweck. She wrote a book called Mindset. And the whole book is basically convincing people against what I was just talking about, that people they can think, they can learn, they can grow. They are not set in stone. You're not a type. Oh, we got coming on in here. Oh, nice. Got Bruce coming on in. Guys, come on in, Bruce. Excellent. Welcome, Bruce. We just got started a little bit ago. Oh, now you can hear me. Welcome, Bruce. We just started a little bit ago. Anyway, so Carol Dweck wrote this book called Mindset, and it's just basically she makes a scientific case over and over and over again that we can learn, that we can grow, that we can change, and that is what I'm echoing here with these soft skills. And the other, there's a problem with the soft skills is that we rarely are given a space to practice these where there are no stakes. Usually, when we're communicating, being creative, there's usually stakes associated with it, which makes it very difficult to develop them when there's always something important based on the outcome. And lastly, these soft skills make a huge difference in how we work, how we interact with people, how we navigate our way through our careers, etc. So I think the soft skills are pretty important. So the idea is that I just made up a character, Jerry the programmer. He's a great programmer. He's very good at that, but then he gets promoted to being in charge of the programmers. And Jerry is very good at ones and zeros and computer code languages, that kind of thing, but not necessarily great at delegating tasks, leadership, communication, at listening to people, etc. And that's the Peter principle, right? So when these soft skills aren't here, when we get promoted, now we're in charge, and they're necessary. They may not have been as crucial when Jerry was a programmer, but when Jerry's a manager, they're absolutely crucial. Right? So here's a quote that I love. We give too little respect to these skills when we call them soft and imply they're optional. They're not. What actually separates thriving organizations from struggling ones are the difficult to measure attitudes, processes, and perception of the people who do the work. Difficult to measure, as I said earlier. This quote comes from an author, Seth Godin. If you haven't heard of him, he's authored 21 books. He's a successful entrepreneur several times over and a TED speaker. So I take what he says to heart. Also, if you just look at this picture, you're pretty sure he is not a party animal. He looks like you compare him with Lawrence J. Peter, and you're like, one of these guys parties and one of these guys reads instructions for board games. So mad respect to both of them. All right, so throw in the chat room. My question to you is when to use these soft skills? Either I say at work here, but honestly, anytime. When are places that these skills are helpful in whether it's your job or any aspect of life? I'm just gonna throw that out there. Oh, I can see some faces. Say, Adam, nice hat. All the time, Robin. Absolutely, right? Like one of the reasons I think they call them soft skills because they softly like adapt they're everywhere, right? Meeting new people, group, church party. Yeah. Anytime you're meeting someone new, listening. I mean, how many times have you tried to meet someone new, you ask their name, and then you forget their name right afterwards? That just me? It happens to me all the time. And any other thoughts on these soft skills? Bruce? Any thoughts from you, Bruce?
Oh, I would say anytime you have someone who's not performing up to expectations.
There it is. Absolutely. I love it. All right, great. So let's get back into it. So next one, it's like all these the big three soft skills. Now, if you search soft skills on the internet, you're gonna find all kinds of lists. 12 different soft skills, 30 different soft skills. Who knows? I'm not really interested in an exclusive list of comprehensive. I'm talking about just the big three that help more than any of the other three, which are First, communication, how we talk to people. You just said when you meet new people, when you're having to deal with some problem, someone doesn't see something the way you are, they're not performing up to task. Anytime you're communicating people, vendors, clients, bosses, people underneath you, job interviews, etc. I don't think you need experts to tell you that these things are important, but I just threw in some quotes. Here's from Forbes. Research repeatedly shows that empathy, i.e., listening, caring about other people, is essential for team members to exhibit emotional intelligence. I'm thinking high performance, teamwork, healthy relationships, and clear communication. So Forbes thinks that communication is important. I think we do too. Here's some other words. Kelly Ware says, single most important key to success is being a good listener, and of all the life skills, communication perhaps the most empowering. Couple of business authors there. So I think we're all on board. Communication is important. But here's another fact: 70% of corporate errors are caused by poor communication. So we could eliminate a lot of those if we
Of
talk better.
course.
So communication, big important. Next one, creativity. Now, a lot of people hear creativity and they associate with painters and writers and that kind of thing. But of course, we know creativity applies to everyone. Where anytime we're not doing something that has a recipe already or an instruction manual for us, we're being creative, right? Bay Atlantic University says creative is vital in business because it enables innovation, problem solving, and helps companies find unique solutions to challenges. So it gives business a competitive edge and boosts productivity. If we do things the way we've always done it, we'll not be creative, we won't innovate, and eventually things will get tricky. Right? So communication, creativity, pretty important so far. And the last one of these big three that I think I call it adaptability. Things change. Last few years, the pandemic changed everything. Politics is changing. You know, the way that the stock market does things, according to my friend. I don't know anything about it personally, but he knows a lot. He says that it's changed a lot over time. Things always change. That's the only constant is change. So we need to be able to adapt. Tackling new challenges requires a balance, applying what we know and discovering what we don't. Requires individual application, specialized expertise, and the ability to step back and look at the big picture. Adaptability means we got to assess, we got to understand, we got to discover, we got to make changes. That's from the Harvard Business Review, another smart sounding thing. So I think of it like a choir, right? When we're being adaptable, we can't just focus on ourselves. We got to focus what's the whole thing happening and how do I adapt to what's going on. This is a picture of my high school choir. And in case you can't figure out where I am, that's me, the one with significantly more hair than I would have later in life. All right, so a question for you then is how important are the big three in your industry? Communication, adaptability, creativity. We all have different industries, but they're all important. What's throw in the chat or feel free to speak up if you want. How important are these? When do they come into play?
I would say just about any job that you're in, it's interacting with the other people in the job so you get the job done right. Or
Absolutely.
also, you become more valuable as an employee if that's what when you can do that.
100%. If you have the same stats numbers as someone else, but there's something about you that people just like talking to you a little bit more. They seem to be able to handle problems a little bit better. That's going to edge you out over someone else who might even have better numbers in certain ways than you. Well said, Bruce. Adam says restaurants need those people in, even if not ready. Yeah. Oh man, how do you adapt when all of a sudden a party of 15 comes in and they didn't have a reservation? You're like, I don't know. It depends on the restaurant. You might just kick them out and say no. But there's that kind of stuff. Or you've got all the dishes out and then someone drops and you got to, how do we do this? We got to adapt on the fly. Love it. Any other thoughts on adaptability, communication, or creativity? Killer. Oh, good stuff. Y'all appreciate the teaching in new places. Absolutely. Yeah. I've taught in many different theaters, many different types of students all over, and you always have to adapt. One time, actually, I had someone in my class who was not only in a wheelchair, which I'd seen before, but she was in an electronic wheelchair that she could move like her hands and not much. I mean, this thing was huge and it didn't have the maneuverability. So a lot of the exercises I'd plan were people kind of moving around the room. she couldn't do. So I had on the fly to adapt all that. And I, even as an improviser, you think, oh, I'm adapting all the time. Now that really threw me for a loop. So I had to really dial in. You never know. All right. So back to this. All right, so we're talking about practice, 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 practice. How do you practice these ever so essential, vital skills? Right? If you're a tuba or player or whatever, sousaphone, I don't know what that is, but this young girl's playing, you can practice that in your basement at home, but practice talking to others? Well, practice is important. I love the movie The Matrix because when you go in the Matrix, there's real stakes. You can actually die in the Matrix, but they have this program where they can train where you might get hurt a little bit. You're definitely going to be safe. You'll actually wake up from it, right? So they can try stuff in this dojo here that in order to learn how to develop things, right? I love that movie. I know it's very old, but so am I. So what about practice? Practice is so helpful when we dare to fail. This is something I tell my students all the time: dare to fail. And you can't do that when there are stakes, right? You can't, this might not work. And well, that's, if the company's depending on it or your career's depending on it, that won't help, right? So when you practice, you need to have zero stakes. You can totally fail, you can totally fall flat. It's fine. If there are stakes, it's probably not practice. Which means we get to make mistakes, and that's how we learn during practice. We do all kinds of things that don't work out, and that's great. So there's zero stakes, make mistakes. I like that little rhyme there. That's what gives us a chance to explore and discover, right? We don't have an agenda. We're just going to explore, see what's going on, take in information, observe. This gives us another way of saying that is play, right? So as a comedy writer, I've had people give me stuff that they want to punch up, like a script, and they'll give me the script, go, can you make this funnier? And I'm like, well, let me play with it. That's how I say. And that just means I just try out different things. I look at it and I'm just, there's nothing set in stone. It's just me and my computer writing different things, but I'm playing. I'm having fun with it until something works. And that's when I know, right? When we practice, we get to play. And lastly, practice is, it helps when it's fun. Fun is very important to learning. Right? So, and I do have fun when I teach improv, either to improvisers or to people in the corporate world for business purposes. I make sure it's fun. Fun is, if it's not having fun, I'm not doing my job, right? That is the onus upon me, and I'm pretty consistent at it. So you can see from all these smiling, silly faces. Here's another quote. Someone from the Harvard Business Review: by applying these improv techniques in their teams, leaders can help everyone have more fun, encourage more creative ideas, everyone feel heard. I believe that working on teams is better than going at it alone, right? Improv is a team sport. It's all about that kind of stuff. So when we practice these skills in an improv setting, we're not doing it alone, like I'm talking about with a script and just writing it. We're talking about interacting with people, but again, in a place that has no stakes, right? Sometimes the big companies get this, right? So here's just a few of the companies that I've had the privilege of working for here, like GoodRx, Google, Fit Body Boot Camp. These places been like, they get, some people in the organization at least get that improv is very helpful, and brought me out to help give these skills to their teams, team building purposes, creativity, soft skills, all that kind of stuff, right?
How
It's
was it
really
working
nice.
with Aquarium of the Pacific?
Yeah, they were great to work with. I've worked with them a few times.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Fantastic.
interesting
Uh,
place.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. You haven't been. It's great. And then these are accessible to everyone, right? So I talked about earlier, we can all I think improv really intimidates some people of thinking like, oh, I'm not an improviser. Yeah, you might not be an improv performer on a stage, and that's fine, but everyone can learn the skills that come with improv, regardless of whether you ever get a stage or call yourself a comedian or performer ever. Right? So what's next with all this? So the reason I talk about all this is because I have classes that I have developed that are for professionals. I teach a lot of classes for improvisers, performers, and I love that. But what I've noticed over the years is that when people take the class not wanting to be a performer, they get a lot out of it, but they also get a lot in the class they don't necessarily need. And they're spending a lot of time that they don't necessarily need to spend getting things that are specific to being a comedian. So what I've done is developed some classes that are good for people who don't really care about ever getting on a stage or performing. It's not their point. Their point is to sharpen their skills, make themselves more valuable, as Bruce said, as a candidate for jobs or promotions, that kind of thing, right? So I next week during this same time, I have a free sample class called Improv for Busy Professionals. Again, a little bit of a clunky name, but I want to make sure everyone gets what it is. Going to be at the same time, wherever that time is for you, respectively. For me, it's 12 p.m. Pacific, but it might be Central, Eastern, or other. And it's going to be literally the kind of class I teach professionals, totally free for people to try out, see what's going on. I have two next week, the same as these webinars, one at 12 p.m., one at 2 p.m. And these free sample classes, they're going to allow people to see what it's like to take an improv class if you never have. Hint, it's a lot of fun. Or spoiler alert, that should have been. It's a lot of fun. They're only 1 hour. So a lot of these, so when I was teaching for the Second City, we taught 3.5 hour improv classes, and we made the most of it, and then we got a lot out of it. But for the people who wanted the classes just for professionals' sake, they were getting a lot of I'm sorry, Rob. I just saw. I've heard that otters have a fixed mindset. That's hilarious. Um, the 3.5 hour class, even a 2 hour class, is like, who has that kind of time? Your time is valuable. You know, when you do professional development, you don't want to waste time doing more than you need to. Right? These sample classes, zero experience required. No one needs any kind of improv, anything. You've never heard of improv before walking into the class, and that's totally fine. I've taught many people for the first time. I've been many people's first intro in improv, and I love doing that. So you don't need to bring anything with you other than humanity. I keep them to 12 spots only. Sometimes, again, when I was working for places like Second City, they would let upwards of 18 people in a class, and it's just not, you don't get up enough. You don't really get enough out of it when you start to water it down like that. So I keep it to 12 people at a maximum. And my hope is that a free sample class will get people hooked. They'll be like, oh, this is so fun. This is definitely worth it. I'm going to keep coming. And then, regardless whether you ever come back again for that 1 hour, you will laugh and have fun, guaranteed. I guarantee that. That's just a true fact. If you speak English and can understand me, even then, yeah, I've had people actually not speak English and get it. So screw it. You'll have fun no matter what language you speak. And it's done by me. That's me. It's a photo shoot I did once where I put a cool hat and a jacket on. Felt pretty cool, so I had to include that. If you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. I'm on LinkedIn. I have my own little website, playliketeam.com. I'm also on the Instagram and things of that nature. So now I kind of blew through all that relatively quickly, but I just want to know your thoughts, your questions, your discoveries, observations, comments on anything we're talking about, the soft skills, improv, thing like that. These are all great questions, y'all, but if you have any more, you feel free to ask them as well.
Well, everybody's busy typing there.
Oh, you're typing them out. I love it. Very nice. Oh, I can see it. Hang on. What is the hardest industry for you? Oh, that's a great question, Adam. The hardest people that I teach are when someone has brought me in to work with their organization, and the person who brought me in is very much on board, but the other people are not. The other people think it's a waste of time to play games uh, and have fun when they could be on the phone selling. But I would say, so that's on me to turn it around, no matter what the industry. But I would say the industry that the most where I've had that in is the legal industry, because when I work with lawyers, they bill by the hour. So any hour they're not billing clients, they're like usually like, okay, what's the point? Let's just tell me the information so that I can get back to work. Right. Not all the time. Some lawyers are very cool, but usually I win them over. So, but yeah, in industry wide, like I think most industries don't get inherently that this play fun stuff is really good for them. Right. That's a great question. Thank you so much for that. All right. And why is my thing not working? Here we go. Oh, nope, that was it. Great. Any other thoughts, questions, observations?
Oh, I'm curious. Did you ever have any responses from, say, the religious community? Someone, because if you're, there's a fair amount of empathy that's needed for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Bruce, I've worked with synagogues and churches before, especially with leadership teams, outreach teams, different things like that, people who wanted communication and their things. And then ideation, right? Because the religious organizations have the same kind of issues that any kind of organization does. They need to be creative and have brainstorming meetings, talk about different problems. So I've gone in and I've helped church staff like how to run a good brainstorming meeting, come up with solutions, that kind of thing. Yeah, great stuff there. What are the soft skills that's hardest to connect folks to? Honestly, creativity is usually the one that I find the hardest because so many people have this knee-jerk reaction to, well, I'm not a painter, or I'm not a singer, or whatever, so I'm not creative. And it's just like opening up that door that creativity is so universal and it's not about making art. It's about all the decisions that we make. It's about, the unknown and trying something new. So, yeah, appreciate that. Good. Any other thoughts or questions? Cool. So I'm just going to throw these in the chat right here, real quick. 1 second. So that is my website. So what I do is I teach improv both to individuals. I have classes that people can take, like the one I talked about earlier, and I also get hired out by companies, as I mentioned, to come either do team building or trainings, different things like that. So you can check me out there. There. Oh, have you ever worked with families? No, I haven't, Adam. Actually, I've never had a family ask for this. I wouldn't be opposed to it, especially I'm sure some families could definitely use better communication, but yeah, I never thought about that before. It's an interesting idea. If you know of a family that's like, we don't like each other, let's bring in an improviser. Let me know. That'd be great.
You'd be a
If
great
you're in,
guest. You'd be a great guest for Thanksgiving dinners.
uh, only if I could be teaching most of the time. If I'm at the table, I think I would just appreciate that. If you're interested in either of the classes, again, they are free. You can sign up. There's the links right there. The links are just based on the time. So if this time works for you, want to sign up for that one, that'll be next week at this time, right there in the chat. And I'll also send a little follow-up email with these in there. My friend does family counseling dealing with autism and using improv. Wow, that's great. I love that. I improv, like the soft skills, can really find its way into every little thing. So I'm sure there's people out there using improv in ways that I haven't even thought of yet. A buddy of mine has definitely worked with a lot of professional sports teams using improv,
Oh,
and you wouldn't think that they would necessarily need it, but man, everyone needs it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, good stuff. All right. Well, really appreciate you guys being here. We were at five people sign up and 3 people show up. That is pretty good numbers for a webinar.
oh no.
Yeah, yeah, not too bad. For something for free to get over 50%, I'll take it.
Hey, Rich Baker. I don't want to brag, but I'm kind of like the greatest producer of Rich Baker webinars ever.
You're the man. Absolutely. I've hired Adam for 10% of the money this webinar is making.
Okay.
He's gonna
No,
take
hey,
all
buddy.
of it.
You already paid me by putting a picture of us being detectives back to back. I saw that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now let me show it again in case anyone missed it, because it's when I was introducing myself earlier, you may have seen that. Whoop. Hang on. Adam here is in my little montage describing me. Where'd you go? There it is. And share. Boom. Look up at that upper left right there. Those two handsome detectives.
Good Lord.
Yeah, we were in Austin, Texas, I believe, when we took this, Adam.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Helping kids laugh and solve fake murder mysteries.
That tie
On
could
the
have
other side
scared
of
a
the
couple
screen
of
is
them away.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty gnarly. What are you saying, Adam?
oh, the other two great pictures on that top row are Rich with his comedy partner Roland. They rock.
Yes, thank you very much. My partner Roland and I, we tour the country doing improv together, wherever in your town. It's a good show. You should look us up. Awesome. Oops. All right. God dang it. There we go. All right. Well, thanks again, y'all. I really appreciate it. Adam, thanks for bringing the house, y'all. If you want to sign up, please feel free to do so. It's totally free, no obligation, and it'll be a lot of fun. Have a great one, y'all. Take care.
Oh, one question there.
Oh, Bruce, yeah.
Robin, what kind of popsicle was that you were eating?
I have been eating lots of popsicles. It was a lime.
Uh-huh.
I have to keep it hydrated. As you can tell, I can finally talk, but
I was just about to say congratulations and very happy for that.
yeah, but it's just getting, my voice gets worn down a little bit. But Rich, we have, on Instagram, we have 14 mutual friends. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm familiar with all your spots.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. I'll come back next week and talk a little more. I'm trying to rest my voice, but
Sure.
but yeah, I was gonna mention, you know, I'm in the education world, and I've been trying to get a group to do like a teacher improv seminar, and they're totally down for it. They're just too overworked. They're like, how can I find time to make this a regular thing? But this is part of my larger ambition, is making all educators learn improv, you know, like in the classroom.
Yeah, there you go. That
That'd
makes
be
sense.
great.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, thanks so much. And, please feel free to forward this to them if they want it. It's 1 hour only, and I'll get a lot out of it. But also, if you want to talk more about it offline, I'm happy to, we can email each other. Anything I can do to support.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. All right, y'all. Thanks again. You have a great one. Take care. Till next time.
Okay.
I love you, Rich Baker.
Love you back, buddy. Bye.
Good to meet you, Rich.
Good to meet you.